Joy, peace, tranquility, vibrancy, and wellness. Isn't this what you want instead of constant stress? That's what host Rochelle Lawson is going to help you with on Blissful Living. There are many ways to reduce stress, some you may not even know about. Doesn't a little peace and tranquility sound like just what you've been looking for? Relax for a few minutes with Rochelle. She's the queen of feeling fabulous.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blissful Living. I am Rochelle Lawson, the queen of feeling fabulous, and I am your host for this next hour that we're going to be indulging in with regards to blissful living. And we are going to talk about the next level of living with my special guest today, Early Jackson Jr. Now, Early Jackson Jr. Is recognized as a social activist and has been laboring to bring balance, skill, relevance, and understanding to people of all nationalities. And what he also does is he is a very successful life coach. He's done a lot of things. He's a speaker. He is out and about just trying to bring his passion for teaching us how we can really basically up-level our way of living. And so without me talking too much and messing things up, because I want to get Early in here early, so to speak, I'm just going to say welcome to the show, Early Jackson Jr., and tell us how you're doing today.
Well, Rochelle, I'm doing pretty good. I'm always excited, and one of the reasons why is because I never lose my level of expectation. I believe that, things, you can lose a lot of things. You can lose cars, you can lose homes, you can lose worldly goods. But when you're committed to expectation, in fact, I am a Bible reader. One of my favorite Bible verses says, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick." And that scripture literally means that when you put off and continue to put off into the distant future, the greatness, the happiness, the joy that you should be possessing now, it eventually wears down your insides and inadvertently wears down your outside. So I believe people aren't sick on the outside just because of an ailment, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're not walking in our purpose. So every morning I get up, I'm excited to step out there and get my purpose going and see what great things going to happen today.
I love that. I know I also wanted to tell the audience, the listeners, that, Early is a international speaker. He's an author of a few books that I'm just going to mention real quickly: Groomed for Greatness, 31 Days to an Empowered Life, 50 Affirmations for Next Level Living, Tweet Your Way to Greatness, and 10 Mistakes I Made Before 30 and How to Avoid Them. So we have a lot that we can delve in that I'm sure you guys out there in the listening world is going to really be able to grab onto and really incorporate maybe some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today with regards to, Early. So I just want to get started. So now, Early, we're going to be talking about, or we're really talking about next level living. What exactly does that mean to you?
Well, Rochelle, what happens is where we are right now is usually a fraction of where we should be based on our potential. See, every one of us is born with this incredible, insatiable DNA that is craving to succeed. I don't believe anybody woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to be homeless. I'm just going to get rid of all my stuff and just live from, meal to meal. So as humans, we rarely live up to the potential that's in us. That's why the grave is probably one of the most well-populated places for talent, because we tend to take those things to the grave with us without ever manifesting them. Next level living is simply taking your life and cranking it up a notch. It's the difference between good and great, average and extraordinary. It's what the difference between 211 degrees is when water's hot, and 212 degrees when water's boiling and it creates steam, and from steam we can get locomotion, we can power buildings, we can do all these other things. It's that last bit of oomph to push you over the edge so that we're walking in what we're dreaming about.
I like that, and it really does help to solidify a foundation with regards to, even though you may be at one spot in your life, you could always really, take it to the next level and really expand upon, living a more positive and better life with that. And I know you've had, you've overcome some difficulties in your life, and so listeners out there, this may be something that may touch you. Please, take notes. Again, you can always listen to the show later, but this is going to be a really engaging experience because Earlie's going to just share with us, a ton of information with regards to how we can next level our living. And, he's written several books. And so we're just going to tap into some of that, and hopefully we push some buttons for some of you guys that make you want to reach out and get in contact with him after the show so that you can next level, or rather up level your living. And with regards to that, I want you to tell me, how does one groom themselves, or where does one start to begin to, take their living up to that next level?
That's a great question, Rochelle. And I believe that it starts with an honest self-evaluation. See, Rochelle, we're a society now. Our culture has shifted over the last maybe 10 years, and we're a society that doesn't embrace feedback. Ever since the term hater was introduced, anyone that gives us feedback, anyone that gives us correction, anyone that offers training to us, what happens is people are now drawn back and say, well, they're just hating on me because they don't want me to succeed. Well, that would be like Michael Jordan telling Phil Jackson, his coach, when he tells him, you know what, you need to arc your shot a little bit more, that he's just hating on me because he didn't want me to be a champion.
Right.
No, quite the contrary. You can't be a champion without mentorship. You can't be a champion without someone giving you feedback. Keith Ferrazzi, great self-help guru, said that feedback is a friend no matter who brings it. So it starts with absorbing your environment and finding out the stuff that people have been noticing about you for a long time. We have blind spots all around us, and most of us are doing the best we can with what we know. The problem is we don't know enough, and we'll never know enough until we open up ourselves to more feedback and even criticism. See, the deal is when you get that kind of information, now you know what you need to work on. And next level living starts with assessing where you are now and being cold, hard, and honest with yourself, and knowing that, where I am is awesome, but there's an even greater place waiting for me.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. It's really interesting because people do take criticism as we say, hating. They're just hating on me. They don't want me to succeed or whatever. But when you really step back, it's like having something, on the tip of your nose and you can't see it. And then someone points it out to you and you're like, oh, girl, you just don't like me because my makeup is flawless or something like that. And they're like, no, your makeup is flawless except for you got a booger on the tip of your nose and I'm trying to help you out, right?
And Rochelle, the deal is success leaves clues.
Right.
Success always leaves clues. When we first moved here from Philadelphia to the Virginia area, Philadelphia had some incredible shopping malls in their right in that local area that my wife enjoyed. And when we got here, someone told her, you have to visit MacArthur Mall. This is a big mall. You have to visit it. So, of course, within 2 days, we were there. And it was overwhelming. We were standing there. But in every mall, there's this big placard that you walk up to, and you see all the stores that you want to go to. But you can't start going there until you find the red dot that says, you are here. And I believe we want success. We're hungry for it. John Maxwell said, we're not losing. He said people aren't winning because they don't know why they're losing, which means they don't have a proper assessment of where they are. Find yourself on that big red dot that says you're here, and then map out and plot your course.
Beautiful. It's almost like you have to really, what I'm taking from you is you have to really develop the sense of awareness as to where you are, be comfortable with that, so that you can get to where you want to be. It's like if you don't really know where you are, you're not aware of it, and the feedback you're getting from people is you're taking it as criticism or they're just hating on you, so to speak, then it's really going to be extremely difficult for you to even take that next step to even make it, that step forward to make it to the next level. So
that's absolutely right.
Yeah. So tell Tell us now, when we become aware of, where we are with regards to the whole big scheme of things, and we're not feeling comfortable where we are because, we believe that it's not the right place for us. What is something people can do to kind of shift their focus and get them back to that forward momentum that we so desire?
Okay. Well, after you become aware, as you said, of your location, now you got to start asking yourself, where do I want to go? Not where does society say I want to go, not where does my parents think I want to go, not even where my spouse suggests I go, but where do I want to go? Because the real definition of success, Rochelle, is finding the place of purpose that was created just for you. It's the difference between buying off the rack and getting custom made. See, when we're born, we come out and we have no consciousness. We're barely self-conscious. We know that we're there somehow. And our parents look at us and they say, in your case, they said, oh, look at her nose, look at her ears. We're going to call her Rochelle. Now, you didn't pick your name. Your name was given to you. And one day in a playpen, you were playing with a doll, and they said, you know what, I think Rochelle's going to be a fashion queen, honey, because every time I see her, she's playing dress up with her dolls. Still, you haven't developed that. You haven't decided. You haven't made a conscious. You're not conscious of your future yet. But these things that we usually walk into, they're inherited by our environment. Now, that can be tricky because our environments, whether they were intended or unintentionally, sometimes our environments that we come from aren't as functional as we like. I mean, we all come from, at our family reunions, we can all pick out dysfunction.
Oh,
It's just like a lineup, but this is the birthplace of our consciousness. So you can't really move forward until you at least acknowledge that the system that you were given could have been flawed. Maybe someone was trying to suggest something to you, and I've noticed this with my children as well, Rochelle, because we tend to pass on our fears, our failures, and our faults to our children.
Correct.
So it takes a period of time where you grow up and start thinking for yourself. Now, I have to warn your listeners, Rochelle, because that's when you become an outcast. Nothing will get you put out of the herd of normal and average quicker than self-thought. When you start thinking for yourself and saying, well, that's not really what I want, that's when you find out who your friends are. Because
that's so true. That's true.
People are fine with you as long as you're going along to get along.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start having an independent thought in your own head about what your future is going to look like, it's going to upset some people. And you have to be willing to go through that process to get to your future. So it really takes you deciding what success is going to look like for you. For some people, 3 BMWs in the parking in the garage in a huge house is not what success looks like to them. To them, success is spending every Saturday on the soccer field with their child. The important thing is that you don't compare yourself with someone else, because nobody has to live with your success or your failures other than you, more closely and intimately than you.
I like how you mentioned, with regards to when you're born and, you're put in you don't pick your family, you're born into a family. Sometimes you don't pick the path that you take in school. You're guided and molded by what your parents think you should be, and I'm saying this loosely, what they quote unquote think you should be doing. It's like when my youngest son was playing basketball in high school and he, was all-star, all-league, I had to really correct my husband with regards to, this is not you. This is not your path. This is him. And what I know you want the best for him, but you can't live your dream through him if that's not what's right for him. He needs to find what's right for him and then make his own way in the world. We get the tools, we help our children to grow and develop the best way we can, but a lot of times you find parents instilling their dreams, their wishes, their wants upon their children, and the children get so bombarded with that it's almost like they feel compelled to do it because they think if they decide to, they want to be a doctor and not play basketball or whatever, they decide to do that, then they're letting their family down and then they feel bad, or they're outcasted or whatever. So I like that you mentioned that sometimes you have to leave the herd, so to speak, and go your own way. And you may be alone for a little bit, but lo and behold, if people really love you and support you, those that will be there for you will come back into your life and embrace you with your decisions you make. And all of that can be extremely stressful and overwhelming to people.
It is. And honestly, Rochelle, that's why we tend to flock or really go gaga over celebrities. Because even the word celebrity, it means someone who should be celebrated. Well, why should they be celebrated? Because they had a dream to be something or to do something, and they had the guts to do it. I don't believe that there's any success story without an incredible story of loneliness and transition into that spot. Because that's why we celebrate them, because they had the guts to do it. But we don't have to always sit on the sideline and be a spectator. If we start going for our dreams, we begin to learn how to celebrate ourselves. And I always say you should be in a position where you're celebrated and not agitated.
I love that's beautiful, and I'm going to emphasize that. Y'all listening out there today, if you don't take anything else from our conversation that me and Early are having, take the fact that you should be celebrating yourself, because you are the most important person in your world, whether you want to recognize that or not. So I love that. I love that. Now, I want to get into a little bit, you wrote the book, Groom for Greatness, 31 Days to an Empowered Life. Tell us, what does an empowered life mean to you?
Okay, great. I love this. Empowerment is my thing. It's what gets me up in the morning. It's what keeps me up late at night, just thinking of that term, empowerment. And Rochelle, the reason why is because years ago, I was having a conversation with someone, and they were talking about the help that they needed. And I got, for lack of a better term, it was a revelation that we don't need help. Help implies a deficiency on the person receiving it. We need empowerment. Empowerment means you have the power. I'm just going to show you where the on switch is. When you walk out of your home and come back in, you don't call the power company and say, hey, I need you to turn this power back on. The power's been there. You just cut the switch off. So what we do at New Direction Coaching Associates is we just lead people to the switch. We ask a bunch of questions like why, and we ask that 10, 20 times, because as you dig back those layers and peel back those layers and uncover, we get the truth is in us. We are bred, we're born, Rochelle, to house truth and power and victory. We just have been covered with a bunch of junk from our past.
Right.
I go back to the analogy of children. I never forget this. My son and I have 5 beautiful children, a set of twin daughters, and then a 17-year-old, a 13-year-old, and an 11-year-old. Now, that last one, Mr. Aaron Isaiah Jackson, he's the one that reminds me more of myself as a kid than so much so than here.
There's always one. There's always one.
He's the one. And I remember I was standing at the bottom of the stairs, and he was standing at the very top, and he said, Early. No, he said, Daddy, get me. And I said, come on, jump. I was joking with him. I said, come on. And when I turned around and when I looked up in the air, Rochelle, he was already airborne.
Oh.
Now, thank God I caught him. Well, that would have been a whole other story. But I caught him. And again, it was one of those aha moments for me that he had no consciousness of fear. There was nothing in him that said, this is stupid. Nobody jumps from the top flight of a set of stairs. And I believe that that's how we're born. We're born daring. We're born ready to leap and figure out how to fly in the air. We're ready to start businesses. We're ready to do incredible innovations. But as we grow up, we start hearing no. No, sit down, stop talking, be quiet, sit down, stop, no talking, be quiet. And then we get put into a public school situation where teachers are teaching one way, and if you don't know how to learn that way, God forbid you want to learn by kinetics and you learn better with motion or with music, then you have ADD. Put him on some medicine so he can sit down, be quiet, and stop. We spend all this time suppressing ourselves, and then after graduation, they want to take the restraints off and say, now go be successful. That's backwards. There's no way after 12 years of suppression, 12 plus years of suppression, that you can actually grow from that. So empowerment is all about flicking that switch on that's been sitting there since you got put in public school systems and you've been craving to do something incredible and crazy and out off the wall and out of the box. That's what we help our clients discover.
So how would one go about flipping that empowerment switch on? Even, other than coming to you guys and having you guys work with them. But, to someone listening out there right now, what is something that they can do to, first of all, recognize that they do have the switch other than you just told them? And then how do they turn that on?
Well, it starts with really waking up. And that sounds crazy because we're having a conversation in the middle of the day. But we're up, but we're not awake. We're functioning, we're existing, but we're not awake. When you begin to awaken to your purpose, I believe that your ears, your eyes, and your mouth are the three things that are most affected. And I'll start with your ears. The filters on your ears would switch when you start awakening to your purpose. And you'll start becoming allergic to people that make excuses, to people that complain, and to people who don't want to go anywhere. It'll be like someone scratching a chalkboard. I was standing in the line at the supermarket not too long ago, and a lady turned around and looked at me, total stranger, willing to share her negativity. She turned around and said, you know what, if prices keep going up like this, I'm not even going to be able to afford to eat. And at that moment, I said, wow, that's a powerful statement, whether she realizes it or not, because the power of death and life is in our tongue. It's in what we say and in what we hear. So I said, well, I guess if the price of food keeps going up, I'm just going to have to earn more. And I took a negative and had to flip it, but my ears were keen to hearing negativity and excuses. Our eyes are affected because we stop looking at the obvious and start looking at the impossible. We stop looking at the obvious and start looking for the impossible. That means when people that are awake come into an obstacle, they don't go, well, I guess it's just not meant for me to have it. They start looking for the ways to make it happen. They're the people that stop saying, I'm trying, and they start saying, I'll make it happen. I'll figure it out. Not too long ago, I had a major situation in front of me, and I felt worry really creeping up on me. And I said, you know what? If I don't have a solution now, I'll have one, because every problem was born with a solution.
Oh,
and then lastly,
that's beautiful. Say that one again. Say that one again.
Every problem was born with a solution. There would not exist a problem if there wasn't a way to figure it out. In fact, the way to figure it out was there first, according to Albert Einstein. So, I mean, I believe that if you stick with and I love what he said. Einstein said, I'm not smarter than anyone else. I just have a more stubbornness. I stick with things longer than anyone else.
Trying to figure out the solution to the problem. Yeah.
Exactly. How many times in our lives, how many listeners right now, Rochelle, were 2 feet from gold? Literally 2 feet from gold, had been digging for years, and one day they dropped their pitchforks and walked away, and some Joe Schmo just happened to buy their land, walk up, and dig for 2 feet and strike gold right in a place that they walked away from. That's what empowerment means.
Oh, yeah, I love it. It sounds so yummy, and it really, I think when you recognize that and you embrace it and you incorporate it into your life begins to change dramatically. Now, we're not saying, you guys out there listening, that, everything is going to be peaches and cream. However, when you have the ability and the wherewithal to recognize the empowerment, and like Early said, there's a solution to every problem. The problem wouldn't exist without the solution, being there. When you recognize that, it just gives you a little bit more of something to hang on to that can propel you forward, and you won't stop 2 feet from gold. So I really, really like that, and I think that, will help people to keep going even when times are the toughest and you feel like you're in the bottom of the barrel and there's no way out. Just know that don't stop. Just keep going forward, and you will eventually attract what you're seeking, positive.
Rochelle, if I could just throw this in too, I think that for some reason we're under this impression that we have to do life alone, and we don't. I mean, okay, you said earlier, we don't pick the family we're born in.
Mm-hmm.
However, we can pick the people we surround ourselves with. And I believe that when we when we're really ready to step over into that level of greatness, we'll stop making excuses for our lives and start taking ownership of our lives. And that means saying, hey, you know what, if this relationship that I'm in with someone, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a coworker, if it doesn't serve a greater purpose in my life, why am I holding on to it? Because half of our troubles could be alleviated if we just simply start surrounding ourselves with people that are trying to do something in the field that we're doing. It's kind of like when I worked at University of Phoenix, I talked to a lot of students, and during our academic intake, I would talk to them about their circle of influence. And they said, no, I'm here. I want to go to school. I said, right, but you don't realize that while you're sitting here with me, the 5 people closest to you are in here as well. And when you leave this room today, you're going to go home and say, hey, I just enrolled in college. And they're going to say, wow, do you have time to do that? Wow, how are you going to do that with your work schedule? And it's crazy because we don't realize we are directly influenced by these people. So much so Harvard Medical Journal put out a study years ago, and they had followed a pocket of people for about 10 to 15 years. And they found out, Rochelle, that after that study was concluded, all of them weighed within about 10 pounds of each other. Oh. And all of them made within about $7,000 of each other. Because water rises to its own level. And if you ever want to get more, you're going to have to have the guts to change your circles of influence and start connecting with people that have more. That's point blank.
That's so true. You know, when I was younger and on my journey of, educating myself, all my friends, they weren't where I was. I mean, I loved going to school, and so I was always, I'd work 40 hours and then go to school at night and get off work, go home, cook dinner, and then go to school. And I was always by myself. But, I thought, well, gee, this is, I didn't think about it at the time because I was young. I was just doing what I wanted to do because I knew it was good for me and it was going to lead to better things for me in my life in the future. But a few years ago, I had the privilege of meeting a wonderful lady, and she's actually became a good friend, and I love her to pieces, and her name is Sandra Yancey. And she's kind of like, she's kind of a mentor, so to speak, to me just by what she says. But one thing that she said when I first heard her speak was that you need to surround yourself with people who you aspire to be like. And I thought, that's so true, because if you're living down in the dumps and you aspire to be, living, I want to say, on Fifth Avenue, the people that you're living with down in the dumps can't help you get to Fifth Avenue. However, when you befriend someone that may live close to Fifth Avenue or, live on Fifth Avenue, that person can open up a whole new way of life and a whole new sight of vision for you that you're not able to see because they see things differently than those people that you've surrounded yourself with, say, down in the dumps for whatever reason. And so it's like beautiful that, you're saying this, and it's just hitting back home with me with regards to that's so true. Surround yourself with positive people. And sometimes that's really hard for people because, people have been in our lives for a long time. We call them our homies, so to speak. But your homies aren't always the best for you that's going to empower you or get you to where you want to be. Sometimes they actually hold you back and they instill all that negativity stuff. Girl, you just think you better than us or blah, 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 blah. And that's just not it. That's just not it. It's just I see things, or you out there in the listening world may see yourself in a better, a different spot. That's all I say. It's just a different spot on the, that line that we live in on this plane here on Earth.
And success starts with your willingness to do it by yourself. See, we live in a committee-based society. So, hey, who wants to go on a diet with me? And we throw it on Facebook and wait for responses. Hey, who wants to start eating healthy with me? Anybody down with me? Be down with yourself. Because if you're willing to do it by yourself, if you're willing to do it by yourself, you won't have to do it by yourself long. Trust me. But it starts with the mindset. How far are you willing to go by yourself? But there are some people who will rather commit to a life of mediocrity to have company than they would to commit to a life of excellence and possibly be alone.
Love it. Beautiful. I love that. You said start with yourself first. I always say that to people too. You can't rely on someone else to take care of yourself, your health, your wellness, whatever. You have to really start with yourself, and you have to make that adjustment. And I laugh when you say, girl, how many of y'all want to be on a diet with me? Well, why do you need people? If you know, I'm going to just put it out there. If you know you're fat or overweight or whatever the case may be, you have medical issues that are related to that. Why do you need a gang of people following you or doing the same thing? Make that point to take care of yourself first. And as soon as people see, girl, you look good, what you've been doing, you will attract that, and you will attract those people into your life, and they'll want to know what you're doing, and then you can help them. But you started by yourself.
Exactly. Rochelle, have you ever been on a road trip with a couple of people, maybe in college or something like that?
Well, no,
been on road trips
just me, my dad, my mom, and my brother. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay, family. So you guys are riding along, and one person in the car is hungry, and they start saying it sounds like this: is anybody else hungry in here? Nobody else want anything? Ooh, there's a Wendy's. Ooh, we just passed Burger King. Okay, KFC, 10 miles.
Oh yes.
Those people, if you're the minority and you really want it, it's amazing how you can change the minds of everybody else in that car. And after about 15 minutes of you going on, somebody says, well, I could eat. Yeah, I could do something. Because why? Because hunger wasn't affecting anyone else but you.
Right.
Now, we'll do that with our stomachs, but we won't do that with our success.
And isn't that interesting? And why do you think people withhold that from themselves?
Because it's easier to blame it on someone else when it doesn't work. See, if you have a group mentality and it doesn't go well, you can say, well, I didn't stay on that Atkins diet because, my dieting group or, the people that we walk with, that's a good one. I'll say that. In corporate America, the ladies would bring their sneakers and, they'd have their socks that come out of their heels. Okay, girls, we're going to go walking at lunchtime. And the first time everybody don't want to go with them, they have an excuse not to go. See, when you do it by yourself, you're accountable to yourself. But when you mask it under the guise of just going along with the group, if the group doesn't feel like doing it, well, they wanted to go down to the cafeteria. They didn't want to walk today. See, when you start by yourself, it makes you accountable to yourself. And nobody's to blame but the only person there, which is you.
Oh, love it. Love it. So now, how do people move through that? That being stuck in, I guess basically they need to take responsibility for themselves. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. And that's correct. And they need to do something. They need to do something today. I believe in massive action plans. Do something today. Right now. I've talked to clients, Rochelle, who have been working through interviewing different trainers for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And they've already been given a I don't want to say a death sentence, but they've been given a stern warning from their doctors. And they're saying, and I said, well, what's going on? How much weight have you lost since the doctor said that? Oh, none. I ordered the PX90 or P90X, whatever one it is. My Bowflex should be here in a month. I'm interviewing trainers. I went to about 3 different gyms looking around. You don't need to look. You need to start walking upstairs today.
Hello?
You need to start moving your thighs today. You don't need everything in place to start. You just need the heart to start. And I believe that we're stuck in neutral because we're waiting for everything to align. Well, I'll go back to school when things aren't as busy. When have you ever known your life not to be busy? Really, I'm going to get my money together, after I finish paying. No, put $10 up today. Start some momentum because you don't go from nothing to change. You start with momentum, bigger actions, and then you graduate to change. That's the way life works. You have to create some momentum.
I love that. That's a beautiful thing that you're saying with regards to, start something today because when you said, people, I've got my P, whatever it is, 90 or Julian Michaels thing or whatever it is. And girl, have you started working out? Well, girl, I'm waiting for, I ordered some workout clothes and Okay, but
I gotta get that cute yoga gear,
right.
girl.
But girl, you working out at home, so ain't nobody gonna see you in the workout clothes if you're doing Jillian Michaels thing or the PX90 or whatever it's called, right? So why can't you just do it, in your skimmies or whatever? Well, because I want to look right and feel the part. Well, really? And then we all have gone to the gym and see these people that they're there every day, and they're in their workout clothes, and you'll see them around the town or city in their workout clothes, but when they're at the gym, all they working out is they jaws, because they not really working out. They talking to everybody, social, but it is just like, come on, just sit at that piece of equipment and start doing it.
Because most of them only want to buy workout gear so they can post a picture on Instagram and then check in on Facebook and say, at the gym flow, and they're not doing anything. There's no flow there. Flow indicates movement. There's no movement.
I love it. Oh, this is...
Come on, Rochelle. You see that stuff on Facebook, and you're like, okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, really. All right, y'all. Got to get this workout going. No, you don't tell us. See, what I love about excellence doesn't need an announcement. Excellence just is. If you're announcing everything you're doing, chances are you're not doing anything.
Thank you. Say that one again.
If you're announcing everything you're doing, chances are you're not doing anything. Or as the younger generation would say, don't talk about it.
Be about it. Yeah. I love it. Oh, love it. This is so fun. I love you, Early. This is just so fun because you if you could see me, you know how the kids do with their fingers, eye to eye, right? That's what I'm doing.
Right. I got you.
Eye to eye.
We there. We right there.
Okay, so now, the person has began to, turn on that switch for empowerment, and they're starting to feel the positivity and the things happening in their life that's really helping them to, next level their living or up level their living. What else would you, I mean, of course, recommending getting all your books and stuff. That's going to help them fabulously as well. But what else would you recommend someone that says, I've started that, but then I have this challenge in my life and I've been set back and now I'm afraid?
I would say great, because now you know what. Now you've just been given a lesson. Setbacks and failures are tuition in the school of life. And I want to take about just maybe 2 or 3 minutes, Rochelle, and if you're listening right now, get a blank piece of paper. Get a blank piece of paper, and I'm going to give you probably 4 sessions of coaching in 3 minutes. The first thing you want to do is you want to figure out what your goal is. But you can't do that until you stop calling every dream a goal. And I know people right now say, well, what's the difference between a dream and a goal? A date? A dream is just a dream. It's wonderful. I have wonderful dreams. But every dream that I have doesn't turn into manifestation because there's no date attached to it. Well, I'm going to get my money together. When? I figure you're probably going to be one of the people that on Facebook, December the 30th through the 31st, they're talking about what's going to happen. They got their New Year's cliches already. It's a new year. I'm cleaning up my Facebook, and I'm really going to be on my grind this year. You don't have to talk about it. Put dates there. When people start talking to me about what they want out of life, I stop them and say, when? When would now be a good time for you? Because if you're not doing anything in the present, you don't have anything to show for it. So the first thing you need to do is distinguish what your goal is. A goal are those things that you have a concrete date attached to it, and you have put the emotional, you have made the emotional investment into that thing. Now that's big. That's number 2. Make an emotional investment. Get a picture. Put it on the refrigerator. I have stuff all over the place. When I go into either one of the bathrooms in our home, there are things on the mirrors. There in my office, there's a huge mirror. There are clippings of places that I want to be able to participate in and go to by the time I'm 45. I put dates to them, and now I've made an emotional investment, because when you stare at something, you look at it, you begin to absorb the image of it. You're making an emotional investment. The third thing you need to do is you need to anticipate and start mapping out what you're going to do with obstacles. Now, can you imagine, Rochelle, jumping on an airplane and hearing your captain come over the intercom and say, wow, we're going into a storm, and I've never been through this before. Oh, boy, if I were you, I'd sit down and put your seatbelts on, because this is a new one. No, they've gone through simulations. They've anticipated every which way for it to go wrong. And this is where this third portion, Rochelle, is where the people around you are very valuable. I'm a visionary. I dream huge. My wife is detail-oriented. I believe God put us together strategically for that. Because I come home and bust in the door, Rochelle, like, babe, I got an idea. And she's like, oh, boy, okay. How much money have you already given to this idea? And then she'll start asking me questions. Well, do you need a permit for that? Is there special parking at this event? Do you have someone to do this? Do you have someone to do it? You need people around you who can help you identify potential pitfalls. Because if you don't have them, you're always going to be disappointed and frustrated until you start going through a simulation of stuff that could go wrong. Well, I don't want to talk negative. I want to have faith. Well, no, faith and planning go hand in hand. So it's not a lack of faith when you plan. You hope for the best, but you better plan for the worst. Once you start making that emotional investment, then you start anticipating obstacles. The last thing that you need to do is you need to surround yourself with people with a totally different skill set. Absolutely, you need the opposites of you. We tend to gravitate to people who are just like us. You know why? Because we're very comfortable with ourselves. We're very comfortable with our shortcomings. But when we start putting ourselves in the company of people who have different skill sets, they challenge us. But they do more than just challenge us, Rochelle. They actually help us succeed. We are connective people. We are meant to connect with one another and overlap our skills. I believe the true definition of a covenant is my strengths for your weaknesses and vice versa. I cover you and you cover me. And that's how we really activate success in our lives.
That's beautiful. So it's all about anticipating what you expect to be the worst thing that can happen, and then being prepared for it. So as you go through your journey of living an empowered life and all that good stuff, if you hit a speed bump in the road or pothole or even a tree in the middle of the road, you have some, you've already thought about this, and so you have some ideal of how you may get around this obstacle. Now, it's an ideal until you actually put it into play. You don't know if it's going to work, but at least you've anticipated it so that if it does happen, you can get through it. 9 times out of 10, because you anticipated it, it probably won't happen. But at least you're prepared, and that way you can still continue on your journey of empowerment and upleveling your life to the next level. So I think that's beautiful, and I love that you gave those four dates. Four ingredients for that, which is set a date. As we say, don't talk about it, be about it. So set a date that makes it more concrete. Make it an emotional thing, anticipate and map it out, and then surround yourself with people of a different total skill set, because all that's going to do is help you to grow and expand more. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right, Rochelle. And when we fail, when we do fail, and we will, we need to do an autopsy on that failure. Don't just bury it. Get rid of it. No, let's cut it open. Where did I miss it? Because obviously I missed it for something. But that's when we say, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. That's a cop-out. I think that we tend to find things that just help us ease through these situations and not have to deal with them. You have to cut it open, look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. In our organization, we do that after every event, whether it was a successful event or not successful. We look, what did we do right? What do we want to do differently?
Mm-hmm. I think it's just, it's beautiful that you're laying this information, you're laying it down for us, because I don't think a lot of people think about this, or they want to do it and they get stuck, or something happens, or they're not surrounded with the right people, or they can't let go because they're being pulled in multiple ways, and they just don't know how to let go without feeling rejected or outcast or whatever. And you're saying that's okay, because if you have a goal in life and you want to up-level yourself, those things are going to happen. And when you know that up front, they're a lot easier to deal with than when you don't know. For instance, women having children. You know, you could talk about all day long how you think pregnancy is and childbirth is if you've never had a child. But the moment you have a child, you know the deal. And so when you get pregnant the next time, like your wife, you got 4 or 5 kids, right? The next time it happened, both of you guys knew what to anticipate. Now, by the 5th one, y'all got it down. You know, you anticipate all these different things, and you just go with the flow. If something happens, it's just like, okay, we've been through this before. Let's do this. But you know, it's beautiful what you're saying here, because it's good information for everyone, and so
you just touched on something incredible, Rochelle.
Go ahead, tell me what I did.
Think about this in terms of carrying a vision. We dream, we conceive. It's really a beautiful allegory of a woman giving birth to a child. We dream, we conceive, and as we're growing with this thing, there's this concern in the beginning, because you want to get to that 3rd trimester, and you want to, you know, people, in fact, you know, I'm from the South, so they wouldn't tell anybody they were pregnant till they were about 4 months pregnant, because they didn't want to talk too soon, and, you know, if something happens, they want to, you know, they'll let it show. And that's how we are with our dreams. We get an idea, it's come inside of us, it starts living with us, and we live with it until we can start feeling it. And if it's our first one, we have no idea what to expect. We have no idea what these contractions are going to be like to really bring this thing forth. But after that, now we can start, like you said, once we go through that first time, it gets a little easier because we know what to expect. And even when it's your first time, if you get around the right mothers who can get you ready. I mean, I remember with our first one, and I'm sure you've done it too with your children, that first one, the diaper bag is huge.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
That by the time you get to that last one, you got a plastic bag with 2 wipes and a pamper in there and maybe a bottle, because you know how to handle this stuff.
Wait a minute, no, it's in your purse. You got 2 Pampers, the little thing
you me, I would just get a grocery bag, and we saved it, just throw it. Come on, give me the applesauce packet. I don't need to carry all this stuff. I know exactly how to do this now. And all the while, you got mothers that are experienced telling new mothers, don't you buy no Air Jordans for that baby. That baby foot going to grow so fast.
Yes.
You're going to spend all that money for this. And if you listen, they'll help you avoid some of the issues that are going to come up. But when we get our dreams, that's where we have to look at it just like when a mother's carrying a child. We have to carry that thing and get the advice of those who are seasoned mothers.
Oh, this is beautiful. So, since you're a seasoned father, you're giving us this, you know, how we can next level our life and, you know, and be empowered and all that good stuff. This is really bona fide information that I think will help a lot of people that may be struggling with wanting to do something in their life that is going to lead them, quote unquote, away from the herd, so to speak, and to help them, you know, it's helping them to know that it's okay that you be alone for a little bit. It's okay that you have this dream and you're going to nurture it and, you know, develop it and nurture it and then eventually birth it, because you're going to set a date. You're going to, you know, make an emotional commitment to it. You're going to anticipate and map out exactly what you would do if that or this or that or the other happens. And then you're going to surround yourself with people that have a total different skill set than yours that are going to help you bring this beautiful, beautiful dream of yours into fruition. And so I just think it's just phenomenal that if you just take the stuff that you said and just incorporate it into your life, you don't have to do it all at once. Just do little pieces. It's going to make a tremendous effect and have such a positive light on what you do and how you live and how you be and how you feel.
Exactly. Our mission at New Direction is to help people just have a better day today than they did yesterday. We're not going to get it all in one snapshot, and I think that's the unrealistic expectation we have, particularly in this age of self-help where you can go online and book yourself for a conference here or there and, you know, spend a lot of money just running around trying to get somebody to fix your life. That's your job. Nobody is going to fix it but you. And if you just start doing one thing differently, again, I go back to what John Maxwell said, people aren't winning because they don't know why they're losing. I've tried my hand at golf just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother-in-law, however, he started playing golf. When he married my sister, I was maybe 8. He started playing golf very shortly after that. I'm 41 now. So he's been playing a long time. We were out in California with them, and I picked up some clubs, and I grabbed them, and I went to swing. He said, "Stop. I see what you're doing." I said, "What? I haven't even hit the ball." He said, "You don't need to. I know where it's going to go. You're going to slice it to the left." I said, "Well, let me hit." He said, "Go ahead and hit it." Hit it, slice to the left into the pool, into the, the little water.
The lagoon or whatever, yeah.
Exactly. And how did you know that? He said, "Because I've been doing this a long time. I see what you're about to do." I didn't know why I was losing. But just with a few tweaks in 10 minutes, the ball that I was hitting was straighter. And it wasn't perfect, but it was better than it was. If we can just do something every day to get a little bit better and a little bit better, after 4 weeks of that, 4 months of that, 4 years of that, where are we going to be? In a better place.
Mm-hmm. That's so yummy. That's beautiful. Take it back to the Michael Jordan analogy, because I'm a sports fan to the max. I'm, diehard sports fan. But, like you said, with regards to Michael Jordan and his shot, it feels, what it came and told him, say, "Hey, Michael, you need to, when you shoot the ball, leave your hand out there." Or it could have been his high school coach or whatever. But when you shoot the ball, leave your hand out there, leave your hand out there. When you shoot the ball, arc it just a little bit more, leave your hand through, follow through, just kept doing it. Now if he would have just looked at Phil or whoever and said, "Really, I'm whoever, I'm Air Jordan. I don't need to listen
talented.
to you." Exactly. I got natural skills and talent. He would have been the greatest basketball player. I know people going to be like, he's not, because we have others that's come along, but it might, he is too. Hey,
I'm with you.
I'm
he is.
Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player. And if you ever listen to my show, Michael Jordan, I would love to have you on as a guest if anybody knows. But, it's just, he took that information. If he would have gave up when he didn't make his high school, basketball team, if he would have just gave up and succumbed, we wouldn't have Michael Jordan. We wouldn't have basketball the way it is played today.
Exactly.
But he didn't give up. He went back and worked at it, and he took that, what he called maybe a failure, as a lesson of, I need to uplevel my life. I need to uplevel my game. And at that time, he was only 5'9". He upleveled his game, and when he became 6'6", his game was off the hook. So it's just taking this information that you just, gave to us and just really just taking a little bit of it each day and incorporating it into our lives. And you never know, you do a little bit each day. Maybe by the 10th day, you've hit a jackpot and you just start seeing things manifest. But if you never make that step to do anything, then you're going to get the same results, which is nothing. And you won't be able to take your life to that next level. And so,
and guess what happens, Rochelle? When you continue to do the wrong thing every day, there's something called muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
And since you're a sports fan, I'll throw this analogy in there. It's the difference between Shaq and Kobe at the free throw line.
Oh, yes.
3.2 seconds in the game. I don't want Shaquille O'Neal at the free throw line.
No!
And the reason why I don't want him is because his form is wrong. And his form is wrong because his foundation was wrong.
Right.
And it's something that there was a coach somewhere who saw his greater potential and talent and overlooked the fact that he had to work. He didn't need more drills of dunking. He needed more drills of free throws back when he was in high school. And because there was no foundation, his form was incorrect. Now, when we start moving forward and people say, well, practice makes perfect. No, right practice makes perfect. If you practice the wrong way every day, you're going to be horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that in our lives, that's what's happened. Our foundation and our form is flawed based on what we did when we were 10 years old, 8 years old, information that we heard, things that we absorbed in our environment, whether it was our families or at school. When I was in school, my 7th grade teacher told me to get a trade because I wouldn't be successful. She told me, she said, you better get a trade because you can't keep still and you can't stop talking. Little did she know that I would gain popularity and notoriety and earn from running my mouth. I had to get my form right.
I hope that seventh grade teacher is listening because, hello, lady, you were wrong.
Maybe I'll run into her at one of my book tours.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's been so fun early. I knew when I, saw everything coming through from you and I had a talk with Sharice. I just knew it was going to be just fun and fabulous. And so, unfortunately, we're at the end of our time together, but you have been absolutely sensational, fabulous. I'm just going to give you just the big fabulous. I
feel like I've been knighted by the queen.
Yeah, you are. Yes, the queen of feeling fabulous is knighted you as a knight of feeling fabulous because you are out there and you're doing it and you're making a tremendous difference in people's lives. You have so much that you do and that you have to offer, and I can tell it's coming from your heart. And it's not, you're authentic with it. You know what I mean? And so it's a beautiful thing. And because of that, I want you to share with all the listeners out there how they can get more of you. If you guys out there, if he's touched you in some way, you want a piece of him, you want to know how to get in contact with him, you want to know how to get his books, all that stuff, this is your time to listen. So Early, tell us, how can, first of all, they get any of your fabulous books or even that coaching CD series that you have to offer? How can they get that stuff?
The easiest way is just to go to earlyjacksoncoaching.com. Now, folks, my name is really Early, and that's spelled EARLY, just like early in the morning. earlyjacksoncoaching.com. That's my website. From there, and I know a ton of your folks are on Facebook and Twitter. Look me up on Facebook at Early Jackson or Life Coach Early Jackson. I believe in giving away a lot of content, Rochelle. There's a ton of stuff on my website, podcasts that you can listen to and kind of preview a CD before you order it. But the biggest thing is just to subscribe and let's get plugged in and stay connected.
Oh, that's beautiful. I thank you so very much from my heart to yours and your fabulous honey. That's there with you. Thank you guys so much for doing the work that you do and helping people, that don't even realize that there is help for them and they feel stuck or whatever the case may be, because, you've got a fabulous thing going on here. And, and it really is just helping one person each day or at a time to recognize the great potential that they have within themselves and that they can too take their living to the next level. And it's a beautiful thing. They don't have to be stuck, and they have, you to connect with to do that. So you guys out there listening, please go to earlyjacksoncoaching.com to get any information with regards to any of his books, programs. If you want to reach out and touch him, I'm sure that you can contact him directly through his website. And then if you want to be a friend of his on Facebook, please, just look him up, Early Jackson on Facebook, in that search tool bar, I think that's what it's called, and connect with him, because I'm telling you, this man is doing great things in our world today. And when we have so much ugliness going on, we don't hear about all the great things or the great people that we have in our world today. And so Early, I'm putting you out there, as the kids say, I'm putting you on blast. I'm putting you out there, and I want everyone to just connect with you and contact you. And again, I'm talking too much. So at this moment, I'm going to just say, thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being a guest on Blissful Living. I really enjoyed our conversation. Who knows, I may get you back if you never know. I'm always full of surprises. And
it was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Completely my pleasure.
Oh, and for you guys out there listening, I hope you enjoyed today's information and my fabulous guest, Early Jackson. The topic was just simply fabulous, and it will help you to reduce or eliminate the stresses in your life that you don't even know that has existed until you listen to this conversation today. And be sure to tune in next week for another dynamite show on Blissful Living. And as always, I like to close you guys with a beautiful message of, I'm wishing you peace to your mind, tranquility to your spirit, and wellness health and fabulous health and wellness. So again, thank you all for listening. Have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your day. And I hope to have you on listening again next week. Take good care, everyone, and bye for now.
You can find out more about Rochelle on her website, Rochelle Lawson, Rochele Lawson, Lawson, or at healthhealingwellness.com. Or just click on her websites from the webtalkradio.net page right in front of you. And of course, you'll want to come right back here next week for another episode of Blissful Living. Thanks for joining us.